Okay, everybody, so now we're going to talk about the internal rate of return. So we've already done a video on net present value, and we did a video on the profitability index. Now we're going to calculate the internal rate of return of a project, and we're going to just go ahead and stick with the same problem because we've already seen it. But we will modify it a little bit in just a minute so I can show you a shortcut that you can use on some problems. So let's get right into this now. First thing we need to know is we don't care about this in the context of the formula on the calculator. Now that will come into play later on when we're deciding whether to take a project, but for the calculations, it's not there. Let's grab our calculator here, and you'll notice that this is a very similar formula with the exception of the discount rate. So we'll go into our apps and we'll use our finance calculator. And then if you scroll down just past NPV is IRR, we're going to just go ahead and hit 8 on there. And here we are. So first thing that we're going to do is we're going to take that minus or the negative button here, not to be confused with subtract because that will give you an error, and take out our outflow of cash or outlay of cash here, 54,000, separated by a comma, and then we're going to put our cash flows into curly braces, just like we did before. So 21,000, right? No second, comma, 14,000, comma, 23,400, and close our curly braces, separate by a comma again. Now this, just like with the net present value, we're going to set up another curly braces and put in the number of periods that we're going to be receiving these cash flows. One for each corresponding one. So we've got 3 ones here. And then we press enter. It's going to calculate, and there's our percentage. So in this case, our internal rate of return is 3.94%. What does that mean? Well, here's our discount rate of 9%, right? Now, when we were calculating the net present value was pretty low. It was less than the initial outlay, so we decided that that wasn't a good project. Well, in this case, the internal rate of return, 3.94, is less than 9. So we don't want to take that project because it's less than the discount rate. Another term for the discount rate in this case is the required rate of return. And if the internal rate of return is less than the required rate of return, then we don't want to take it. All right, so shortcuts. I did promise you that. Let's say that instead of 14,000 and 23,400, each year, for the first 2 years, we're going to do 21,000 on both, and then 23,400. Let's go into our apps here, finance, and internal rate of return. We'll start out the same way, negative 5,400, or 1,000, negative 54,000, comma, and then we will open up our curly braces. Here's the fun part. We don't have to type in 21,000 2 times. Just put it in once, comma, 23,400 for that last year, and close our curly braces. Separate by a comma. So what do we do for the next brackets? Well, for the first 2 years, we'd had the same cash flow, right? So in that case, we're going to say 2 periods at 21,000. Separate by a comma, and then 1 period of 23,400. Close our curly brace, and now we have an internal rate of return of 10.02, or actually 10.03 because of the 7 there, right? All right, so what does that mean? Well, that means that the IRR now is greater than the required rate of return, so that would be a profitable project to take. All right, so that's how you do it with the TI-84, and I will see you guys next time. Peace out.